I found these notes in one of my uncle's old Qurans while cleaning the attic. I never knew he was an exorcist. After moving to Western Massachusetts to live with us, he never talked about his life in Saudi Arabia. What you are about to read was translated by me from the original Arabic. These are the notes of my uncle, who apparently was an exorcist working in Taif, a mountain town about 40 miles away from the holy city of Mecca. They concern the exorcism of his wife. July 2nd, 1984, 6:30 p.m. After many desperate phone calls from her mother, I meet with Dahlia at the hospital. She is restrained on the bed. Her eyes are open, but she does not look at me. Her face is pale and her hair is thinning. It seems that she has lost weight as her body looks bony and frail. In the name of God, the most gracious and the most merciful, to protect me from any evil that may be present, I recite from the Holy Quran the following: the verse of the throne, the verse of dawn, the verse of mankind, and the verse of true intention. When I'm done, Dahlia is looking at me, her mouth gaping. Dahlia, I want you to stop this. Your mother is crying. Have mercy on her and end this game now. Dahlia smiles. It's not the sweet smile that I've come to know. Only her lips move, but her eyes stay fixed and wide. Inability to properly move facial muscles is a sign of possession. Give me what I want and this will all end. The voice sounds exactly like Dahlia. Her facial expressions soften and return to normal. I still believe that our marriage can work. What you believe will kill me. This is not the way to get my attention. Take pity on your mother at least. She's gone through enough. This was the only way to get your attention. I want to know how I did it. First, I prayed to Satan to send me one of his followers. When the jinn came, I let it go inside of me. Dahlia, my God, what have you done? Then I let the jinn violate me. I let it do me dry. She laughed. Enough. You will not speak to your husband like this. It did me better than you ever did. Who knows? Maybe I'm carrying its child. I immediately leave the room and I ask one of the doctors if my wife is pregnant. A few minutes later, the attending tells me that she is not. I go back into the room. By God, I will not give up on you. It's clear to me that you are not possessed, and that this is another attempt to get me to agree to divorce. But I will not. When you come to your senses, we will fix our marriage together. I turn to leave when a deep, guttural voice says, You killed my brother. I'm not sure where that voice came from. I don't know if Dahlia is capable of speaking with such a deep, throaty voice. I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? Her voice returns to normal. My brother loved a bit of mischief, but he didn't deserve what you did to him. Dahlia, you don't even have a brother. I'm not Dahlia. Her cheeks twitch when she talks, as if she can't control her facial muscles. Who are you? The brother of the one you killed. Who is your brother? You put him into a rat, remember? Dahlia shakes violently. A medical instrument in the room beeps. Foam seeps from her mouth. I rush out of the room to call for help and doctors and nurses rush in. Dahlia had a seizure. I remain at the hospital for a few hours, hopeful that she will survive the night. July 5th, 1984, 9:15 p.m. A doctor informs me that Dahlia's condition has improved enough for me to return. I visit the hospital. Dahlia is still restrained. She looks even thinner and her hair has bald spots now, I recite verses from the Holy Quran for protection, and I begin in the name of God. Dahlia, my dear, please tell me that you are feeling better. We are not dears. We are as bitter enemies as can be. You know, even the doctors here believe you that you're possessed. You should become an actress. An actress? As if women are allowed to be anything other than your pets. A woman cannot be herself, cannot even love whom she wants. I understand how you feel. I promise to be a better husband. If you don't like it here, we can move to America, where my brother and his family lives. I'll do whatever it takes to make you happy. Dahlia glares at me and laughs. She won't stop laughing. She is hysterical. I leave the room to call for a nurse, but as I do, her laughter gets deeper. She starts speaking in that guttural voice. Bring my brother back from hell. That will make me happy. Okay, Dahlia. You know that I perform many of my exorcisms with animals, like rats. You know that I sometimes trap the jinn in the animal to free the human host. You trap my brother in one of your rats. But what I didn't tell you is that I never ever kill those animals. Perhaps you assume that I do, and that's why you are making up this crazy story. Liar! I always keep the animals in a cage and I give them to my sheik. He then purifies them and sets them free. We never, ever kill anything, whether human, rat, or jinn. That guttural laugh again. Lying is a sin, my dear. You put my brother in the rat and then you put the rat in a cage. And then you forget the cage in the trunk of your car. He suffocated. You killed my brother and now I'm going to kill your wife. I never told Dahlia about that incident. It happened 6 months ago before our marital trouble had started. Maybe she had seen the dead rat in the trunk and never mentioned it. If not, hidden knowledge is a sign of possession. What was your brother's name? What do you care? Why did he possess that little boy? Does it matter why? If you're really a jinn, you would tell me. So you can exorcise me too. I'll kill your wife before that, and then I'll kill you. And then I'll kill any family that you have left. Dahlia started shifting in her bed. Her arms are so thin she slips out of her restraints. Before I can stop her, she stabs her eye with a syringe. She didn't even flinch. Blood gushes from her socket. Unflinching eyes are a sign of possession. I hold Dahlia down and I shout for help. July 8th, 1984, 4 p.m. With the permission of my sheik, I come to the hospital to perform the exorcism. I'm told Dahlia is weak and still recovering, but despite the doctor's appeals to let her rest, I cannot wait any longer. Dahlia's eye is bandaged. Her new restraints don't allow for any arm or leg movement. She notices me immediately. My back itches. Please, my dear husband, would you itch it for me? I begin in the name of God. I put down a box with a Deathstalker scorpion inside. Dahlia stares at it, eyes gaping. What is this? This is where you're going. Why not something harmless like a bunny? Aren't you afraid that I would sting you? The scorpion would sting me anyway. That's its nature, and that's your nature also. Your nature's a line, and that's why I can put you there. You calling my brother a rat? To begin the exorcism, I put on white gloves. I place my hand on my wife's head and I begin in the name of God. I recite the verse of the throne from the Quran. God, there is none worthy of worship but He, the living, the self-sustaining, the eternal. No slumber can seize Him, nor sleep. His are all things in the heavens and on earth. My wife shouts as I recite, a sign that the exorcism is working. Admit it. Admit it. Admit the reason that I hate you. I recite the verse of mankind. I take refuge with the Lord of mankind, the King of mankind, the God of mankind, from the evil of the slinking whisperer, who whispers evil into the hearts of mankind, from among jinn and mankind. Just 2 more verses to go. Admit the reason I invited the jinn inside me, the hateful jinn that hates you too. His brother was just being a little mischievous. He didn't want to hurt the boy. He was just having a bit of fun, but you killed him. Somehow Dahlia spits in my face. It's full of phlegm and smells of blood. I wipe off the spit and I keep going. I recite the verse of dawn. I take refuge with the Lord of dawn, from the evil of that which he created and from the evil of darkness when it settles. Only the verse of true intention is left. You know I don't love you. You know I love another. You know that I committed adultery. You know you saw us, and you still won't let me go. I stop before reciting the final verse. Adultery? What are you talking about? You saw it with your own eyes, but you won't accept that it had happened. Don't talk like that. I never saw any such thing. Dahlia laughs, deep and guttural. She continues to speak in that voice. You came home for lunch, something that you rarely do. You saw your wife with her best friend, Hawa. They were naked in your bedroom. The sight of another girl on top of your wife made you hard. No, nothing like that ever happened. You kept watching through the slit of your door. You liked it. And then like a shamed coward, you pretended it never happened and you went back to work. Lies. You were never there for me. You never touched me anymore. You never showed love to me anymore. So I found someone who would. If only you had given me a divorce, Hawa and I could have left this prison of a country and found a way to be together. But because you would never let me go, I did this to myself. So you would truly understand how much you made me suffer. You can't stop me, deceiver. I place my hand on Dahlia's head to recite the final verse. My wife's eyes turn. They are only white. She gags like she was about to throw up. Vomit spews out of her mouth, and she chokes on it. I burst out of the room and I shout for the doctor. The hospital staff rushes in, and they wheel my wife to the surgery ward. Hours later, I am told that my wife had a stroke. She was oxygen deprived for 10 minutes before being revived. She is now brain dead. The doctor informs me she will experience whole body death in a few days. Whether to keep her on life support is up to me. I'm in shock and I cannot decide what to do. July 9th, 1984, 2 a.m. My wife is lying down in the hospital bed. A brain-dead woman who has no need for restraints. Tubes and instruments keep her body alive. You were right. I didn't want to admit what I saw. I thought that it would all just go away if I pretended that it never happened. I hear a creaking noise as if Dahlia's bed rattled, but I don't see anything unusual. I then notice that I left the scorpion in the box in the room. It lies limp. I shake the box and it's clearly dead. You were not happy with me. All you could do was run back to your mother's house, but you were never free to love whom you wanted. You couldn't even leave the country, because they wouldn't have let you without my permission. I stand close to look at my wife, one last time. Dahlia sleeps peacefully. I should have given you the divorce. I'm sorry, Dahlia. To God we belong and to Him we return. May God forgive me for what I did to you. My wife's mouth opens, as does her one eye. Her cheeks twitch and her mouth contorts into a twisted half-smile. She raised her hand and points her finger at me, wide-eyed and mouth gaping. Dahlia? Her body falls down on the bed. I call the doctor. He reviews the instruments and tells me that there is no brain function. Movements without brain function. A sign of possession. I was shocked when I read these notes. My uncle had died earlier this year. He was a kind man but secretive. I never even knew that he had a wife. I still don't know what to think. I asked my father about it. All he said was that my uncle's wife was sick and died and he never remarried. The worst part is the last page of the notes is ripped in half, as if there were more. I've searched through all my uncle's belongings, but I can't find the bottom half of that page. It worries me because of the way my uncle died. The night of his death, he placed my hand on his head. He begged me to recite 4 verses from the Quran. The same 4 verses he mentioned in his notes when performing the exorcism on his wife. But right before I could read the last verse, the verse of true intention, he begged me to stop. And a few minutes later, he died. This was the same verse that he had failed to recite during the exorcism. His last words were, "Don't keep me alive." I'm not sure what it means, but my uncle made sure that in the event of brain death, he was not to be kept alive. Why this was so important to him must have something to do with that missing half of the page. My uncle once told me that jinns are everywhere, and that they can see us even when we can't see them. He also said that jinns can possess humans, but when they do, you'll always notice imperfections, like a smile that doesn't seem right. The jinn will also make the human host physically and mentally sick. My uncle suffered from muscular degeneracy, which is eventually what killed him. He never could smile right. He also suffered from depression and he needed constant care. Now everywhere I go, I get this sense that someone or something is watching me. I can't shake this feeling. Some nights I can't sleep. I keep thinking about that last half of a page. I keep wondering if my uncle died with a jinn inside of him, and maybe that jinn is now watching me. Maybe it's not done carrying out vengeance on my family. Maybe I'm next.